That was that.
Where's the other book?
Turn around, turn around.
Let me get the book. This is the one in the box. You mean the little book? This one? Yeah.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Yeah. The Chayim of Shemitah, we're going to learn in the Teicheche, that during the Golas, especially the first Beis HaMikdash, that Atakik made up all the Shemitahs and Yevers that they didn't keep, that it made up. What's such a big Aveira? Even though we find Dever, Ba'al on Shemitah, he comes over there. So obviously, Shemitah is a big thing. Why is Shemitah such a big thing? Why is it? It's like Chazal, it's a love. It's like anything else. Why do you have such a big Chayim of Misa on it? So I think it's because this is the Yikil of our Amuneh. Now it's in Kisavai, when you talk about the laws of Bikurim, so it says over there that the Sifra says that you should do a mitzvah that b'schusa you can be able to yasha the land. And what's that? That's Bikurim. What's Bikurim? Bikurim is a recognition that the land doesn't belong to me. Why? Because who likes the first fruit? Only a balabos. Someone who planted it and worked on it and this and that, and finally you got the first fruit. They want to hear what it tastes like. When you go to the store, the first fruit you don't buy. It doesn't taste good. It doesn't, what do you call it? It's not ripe yet. It's not the thing to nikin yichus. So why are you going to the first fruit? Balabos, it makes something. So you bring it to the Kohen. You don't have that. So you don't have that gishmak or whatever it is that you could have because it's not mine. And the Benishim again in Shemitah is also, it's not mine. So weit, there's an interesting Rashi in Emor that it said here's the Kashi, why is Matnas Aniyim between, right after Shavuos? That we take the Yom Tovim. So Rashi says, if a guy does a bit matnas anim koroyu, so then it's ki'ilu bona beis hamikdash and nigmahit of korbanos b'soichei. In the Sifri, it does not say that. It says it's ki'ilu beis hamikdash kayim and nigmahit of korbanos b'soichei. So where did Rashi get his thing? Because he adds the word koroyu. What's enough giving koroyu? Or not Kurayu. So we learn out in Emerson from Bab Metzia. what Shiur means. You have over there, I think it's Daf Yud Aleph, that is we learn out from Shikha, right? That if the work is forgotten and he's over the Tzadei of the Balabos, then it's not Shikha. If he's Be'ir, it bleibt Shikha. Kash is, why should it bleib Shikha? Go my field. I didn't forget about it. If I didn't forget about it, why should it be Shikha, right? So the Rai is from here that all you have a right is to be koine first. So if you weren't koine first, then it's gone. You can't take it anymore. But if you're only tzaddeyu, so you took it. So therefore, that's the thing there. But if I was be'ir and I didn't take it, so the fact that they forgot it, that implies already shikha for what he called. And then you have on Daf Yud, I think it's a machlekes there. If Arba'am is b'shus chaver v'gabi peya. So in other words, what do you got to do with my field? It's my field. How can you have dalramas in my rishus? Right? Otherwise, it's not my rishus. It's only my rishus for that I have a right to take it. But after that, to have the rest of the year, not the gabi peya, where you don't have a right to take it, then about it's mine. That is the fachta din in Bailim that we have by this. But there's certain points that the Torah make sure that you understand it's really not yours. That's the point. It's not only that, we'll see by Avodim, the same thing, we can see in a minute. And then you have in the biggest davening is Yovel, the Yom Kippur of Yovel, because you have besides the Nus of Yom Kippur that we have normally with the Chaitz and everything else there, you also have the Rosh Hashanah of the Chaynes, Malchus and Shefres that you have over there that they have. So that you have to have, so that's a launch manasr. Whatever will be there. Okay.
Shemitah shows this the most, that's why that mitzvah, like Bikur and Peya, Truma also
Yeah,
shows
all
it's
it is. They all show that all these laws show that the land is not ours.
But only Avoin Shemitah caused all the gullus.
No, that's what I'm saying, but because that you forget. You think like, that's because the scientists claim that you have to change your crop every couple of years. And the reason Shemitah was made, there's the thing is that they have a year of resting, so the vitamins that the earth gives into the thing has a year to recover. So therefore that's good. So it's telling us a good way how to be a farmer. And it has nothing to do with the Rebbe Shem showing me it's my land. We're just saying this. The Rebbe Shem's telling you it's not because of good farming. Good farming has to change the crop. It's my land. It's not your land. I'm telling you, you can't fly here. You can't grow here. Now in Eretz Yisrael, all the kunsten they make, I can't answer you. But obviously, the Meiche Sregim moved away a little bit even from the Chazanish's Heter. The Chazanish's Heter was of, what do you call it, Eitzer Bezdin. So they moved away from it, that they grew the Eretz Yisrael, the Sregim in Morocco, the last Shemitah. The last thing that they didn't buy the Eretz Yisrael, they were still selling them, and we were able to get it, but I just noticed over the years how things developed. Now, how many die? How many Seigim die every year? I can't. Every Shemitah I can't tell you, but as I state in Pirkei Avos that we're safe there, he died because of the Shemitah. Because the guys do business with Shemitah. Do you really do business with Shemitah? You understand? I can't answer you. In other words, there's definitely the differences in the years. I remember when the Nesriki went in, sight unseen, $18 a Nesrik. because Eitzer Bezdin, what's Eitzer Bezdin say? For labor, we charge you. We can't charge you for the pay, but we can charge you for the labor. They cut it, they sent it to America, they sent it to this. So the thing is, it doesn't cost to send, what do you call this, like a Mahuda esrig, water than a plain esrig. It's the same thing. So therefore they had a steady price. That wasn't enough money, so they raised the price, and they made Eitzer Bezdin even with different prices. And how did they do that? I don't know how they did that. Could be that's why they went away. They had originally the Mizrahi Heter, which was not really a Mizrahi Heter. It was the Heterim were made in Europe. By the way, in Europe. I don't know who was involved in the chuvas that I can't answer you. And that was probably the Indian of selling it to an Arab, the whole land to an Arab, and stuff like that. But that's what they did. And then the Chazanish came along with Eitzer Bezdin, and now they don't even want to do that. But the idea is that you're coming, that you see that the zchus of owning Eretz Yisrael is by recognizing this. And therefore, the fact that you don't recognize it, Hashem takes it away from you. So therefore, it's no question. That's what the Golos works that way. Okay. And even with all those heterim, I remember we used to be mafukir it then also. You have to, if you bought Eitzer Bezdin, you bought this, you bought that, then you will still put it out, and you will mafkir it. And it's for the three people, or whatever it is. So, Yannick Eretz Yisrael had a problem the 1 year. What did he do? He put out the esrig, and in the street he mafkir it. And his daughter asked him, Ketana, asked him, who can take it? Anybody can take it. Even I can take it. And she runs over and grabs it. So she was crying at first. And she said, Ketana, you can't give it to her. It has to be Sholachem. He can get it. Happened to be, it became possible, he said. So he didn't feel so bad afterwards. But she took gehabt to do the thing over it. Okay. And then again, even when you buy the land, it's not like you're buying the land. You're buying it to feed how many years you have in it and whatever it is there. I don't know what shiur. You have a 99-year lease. We have Rockefeller Center, whatever it is there, the 99-year lease. So what's the kavanah of that? Pshat is, I don't want to sell it to you. So I'm renting it to you for 99 years. 99 years is enough for you to build buildings and make your profits the chayr that you should do. So the point of thinking, even though it's like I'm selling you for the fields, for how many crops there are, but 49 crops is probably going to be a lifetime of crops. You know what I mean? So it should pay off to pay the good money for it. Okay. Then it says over there, if you'll ask this question, so I'll be tzaveh bilchosi for 3 years. So the Shiva asked, this other said ask it, this is his answer. The Shiva asked, what happens if you don't ask? A normal guy doesn't ask. You ask, what do you do, Shemitah? Say that we're rich people. We know we owe everything is exported and imported, and so we know we got anyway food. I can't answer the kasha. If that's why we're so batuach, that we don't think about Shemitah and stuff like that, even in Eretz Yisrael. So he says, why? He says, so what will happen? He said, what will happen is you won't have the bracha. So he says, why do you think bracha is a good thing? Right? Well, the bracha tells us a good thing. I'll give you 3 years for nothing, right? That'll grow in 1 year for 3 years. That means you got to work 3 times as hard to bring it in. And then you need 3 times as much storage space as you had before, right? So therefore, if I don't have enough storage space, I have to build more. So I have to build already, and it falls apart by the next Shemitah comes apart because I'm not going to build the most important stuff there. So it's a lot of work. So who says the grace is ach?
So what happens if it's a shoemaker who says what's going to be? What happens if it's a shoemaker? The farmer...
He's not planting, what's
he
it?
needs that there's food.
So
They're
whatever it is,
making
he'll buy. There's food in the marketplace. I don't know how there's food. I don't know. I'm not a farmer. But there's food always there. You know, we're all richer than Rebbe and Antoninus. Right? The Rashi has to bring down Gayim, Shnei Gayim, Bevitnacha, whatever it is, whatever the lesson from that is a different story. But as they want to Antoninus, that's a loy bottle of Chazaras, it's from the summer and the winter. Big deal. Every Oroman in America get around in the supermarket. He can buy Chazaras and Tznain a whole year long. What's the last time I caught that's a shiurs, right? But in those times, you had to have a boat. It went from this side. You had no refrigeration. You had no this and that. So we rotted. So we had to have a boat coming every day to get everything there.
The bracha would go on, let's say in those days, the bracha would go on anyone who doesn't ask will get a bracha. Like, I'm the shoemaker, I'm concerned that you need the whole society.
I don't know if there was such a thing as you say, except for the kahana maybe. But that if the kahana were the business shoemaking. But when you what of Yechna Sandel, because the old days is from the Nasiv, he owned the factory. He didn't own he wasn't the shoemaker.
You had the bakery, you had other jobs other than, I'm saying those jobs other than.
I don't know if you had those things.
Every person's farm.
What you had normally was farmers. We're what do you call it? Agricultural society. We're all farmers. We all made it at home. Everybody made their own clothes, their own shoes, their own things. There was anything there. But it would work for us too. It doesn't make a difference. But the Kechanim, I assume, were in business. They only work 2 days a year. Why do the rest of the time? So if they sat and learned, okay, so they can cash it. They sat and learned. But if they didn't sit and learn, so they did the businesses that existed. That was the difference why the Yidden in Mitzrayim was successful. What were they successful about? The land was owned by the Mitzrayim, right? But they opened up the grocery store, they opened up the shoemaker, they opened up the dress shop, they opened up the banks, they opened up everything. That's why they became Gevirim, man. And that's what bothered them in Mitzrayim. Okay, so he says the dhikr is that we say so too much bracha is not a mile. Whether you could ask this really to anyone that works. I remember years ago, accountants by April 15th, April 16th, they were free. They finished their malacha. Now that the corporate taxes are different times than what they call, they work a whole year. And I can't get a bracha anymore. I have to work. I can't go away on vacation in the winter time or the summer is free for me. I go away for vacation. I'm stuck a whole year because I have to work a whole year. So what's the yichus? Right? Okay, so we'll see about this later in the Teichach and the Geetos. Okay. Then you talked about Avodim. That's first he's talking about Hagoy. Yeah, the base Moshe Machaima. So this is a raya to that he sold it for 1 year. You know, the pigeon is 1 year on Moshe Machaima. So if you have negenirli baboyis. So what happens? You break it up. Who's the shayla who owns it? Right? So you have the raya from there is that whoever is in possession of the house, isn't it? Because you see, Bati Oichaima, and it could be 10 Balabatim could have had it from the time Yeshua when we took over the land. Because the first guy sold it, and or whatever it is, or it was Magdish it, or whatever he did there, or he sold it, they kept selling, and no, we'll pay it, so we get that, and he still gets it. He also learned it from Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu by the Mosach Pela. So he, when they hardly find him, Medrash says one of the oxen ran away and ran to the Mosach Pela. He learned that Chava and Odom and Chava are buried there. So therefore he wanted it. So why didn't he tell Efron about it? I'm not mechuyev to tell Efron. If you don't know, it's not he wasn't coined it. He never owned it. That's the thing there. So it's a different yesod in ownership that you have to understand it. Where I'm using a variation of it, let's say in this case, the Mishnah in Elam Mitzias, right? The guy finds money, he's allowed to keep it. Why? Because the person's mefash based with B'kisei b'chol shah. Right? That's why you're allowed to keep it. So it automatically was miyayik. Pasuk like Abaye usually bedas lo have a yish. So how come you're allowed to keep the money? So the pshat is because he counts all his checks. Okay, you're yeshiva guys. I don't expect you to. I don't have any money on me. You have money on you, Shlema?
$31.
31.
I'm this time.
Huh?
$31. I'm prepared for the question.
Okay. But most guys do not know how much money they have, right? So how you allowed to keep it, right? So, l'chayre, we'll talk b'yasamecha. Also, nafkamina, let's say, I really don't even know how much money I have l'bracha. I mean, how's the Brensham give me asamecha? Because asamecha is I went shopping. I give this to Tali younger light. In other words, if you don't want Shabbos to cost you too much, is you go with asamecha. I don't know how much money I have, but I definitely don't have enough, like whatever it is. But I think I took. I saw I have five 20s, right? I say. That should be enough, right? I don't make a cheshbon each time I go and I say, oh, took off, that was the challah cost me $17 and this, and the meat cost me this, and that cost me that. Then there's no asamecha. Then you know exactly how much money you have. But I go in there to the store without a cheshbon. And I tell them in there, I have money in my pocket, I'll go buy more, right? So at the end of the thing, you come home, how'd you buy all of this? Right? It's $120 instead of like you think it's $100 with you. 120. Oh, it must have been 620s there. Right? That's Basamecha. So that could have been just as easy to be 620s as 520s. I didn't count them. And the thing there, so it's not kedai to count exactly. Right? The ikar is that. And I know this for a fact, but there has to be some kind of a concept of this also. I remember there was someone in the Kaila's wife was a nurse, and she was a nurse in the Bronx. So in the Bronx, the other nurses were not necessarily Yidden. They were Schwarzes, Puerto Ricans, and I think there. And they kept by clogging stuff. They all made the same money. They made about $80,000 a year when the spice was sold to me. I don't know how many years ago that is. They said they keep by clogging stuff. They never can eat steak. They can't eat steak. How much does a steak cost by a guy? They go into the supermarket. It goes $3, $5 a pound. Us we pay $20 a pound, and we eat steak. We don't eat it right often, maybe, but we eat it once in a while, right? And they don't eat it at all. So you can say maybe the shikas achon in the bar, and they spend all their money. Then I can't answer you. Or the pshat is, we need a Samecha Taka. The Mention makes it all the time. The Parshas said, I know Yid, but it costs us so much money to be an Yid. There has to be a bracha of Samecha somewhere. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. Okay. Then he goes into the union of Avodim. This is negate to us at Yom, and the engine of contracts and so on. And if you didn't have Eved or not, Shiloh, what your poil is and stuff like that. So I remember the Gavra Shiva, you think you should have a tshuva on it. That the poil, Yochel, Lachs, B'emtza Yom, let's think about Yeshiva Rebbeim. Which ones are called poyalim or which ones are called slora? So he says, a Gemara, if you teach Gemara, it's called your slora already. You call your Rebbe, they call you this. It's an under reputation, I'm the thing there. But otherwise, again, what's the defense of the principle? Yeah, it's a thing there. You know, take Beis Yankees with lesser Shaila. So the guy goes through, the woman or whoever's the principal makes up the classes and teachers and everything else. And 1 week before the end of this month, or before the beginning of this month, I quit. I got a better job. So the person has to work a whole year. What's the reason making a contract? I make a contract, I'm giving you a job. I hope you're keeping your word, I'll keep my word. Like states out there's some Moses for Tishma still exists. So they do have, I know in terms of Sechel somehow, the guys themselves blackball the Rebbe or the teacher that quits just before the new year, and therefore the principal has to work. So they tell him, like, this is what this person does, and the mailer they all they don't take him, whatever it is. They are him, whatever it was. So they have some kind of a biatzim adin, let's say a regular job. I can't put a restriction on you. You're not an Eved. An Eved means I have no choice. Now you can sue me. Let's say I sign a contract. So contract is not pshat I can't quit. You can sue me. I'll have to pay you something for the contract, but I can still quit. It's not pshat that I can't quit. But if I can't quit, there's no such thing. If you can't quit, you can't quit. That's an Eved. There's no such thing. So that's what it's right really, what do you call it, real Avdus.
How was everything like she's saying that?
What?
Before they were saying.
Yes, I'm saying that doesn't happen. That you won't get bracha, but there's always bas samacha. There's always going to be. I could really go into more than that. In the, I thought that samacha maybe in this in the lois. I'm not sure. Okay, in Behar-Bechukosai minach. We have gzeiros every year, right? Parnasa, right? Come Rosh Hashanah. So, so some tights up, even the Shainim, means Parnasa. I think it's wrong. I'll tell you why it's wrong, and I think it says Misonoisov. What's Misonoisov mean? My expenditures. How much I spent is Ksuvin Leim Rosh Hashanah. Nafgemina is, we have to, let's say, I work, will get $50,000 a year. Right? So it pays for my basic, my rent, right? But I can't marry off my daughter. I don't have no money for my daughter, right? So this year my daughter became a kala. So I need $50,000 more. How am I going to get $100,000 this year? I have to just quit my job and take a different job. Then she can give me it. It's not big kasha, but I can't be a Rebbe anymore. I have to become a storekeeper where I can make the money, if that's the case. So you don't find anybody doing that, first of all, right? Baruch Hashem, we all have the same job and the same thing and the same thing. You're making bar mitzvahs, you make chasanas, you make this, you make that, whatever it is, right? And the thing opened. Okay, people help you, and not everybody helps you. People don't necessarily help you. Me personally, had 4 kids. Everyone took away every penny I had when I made the chasana. And I think, then Baruch Hashem, the bench gave me. But the next kid, I had enough money to make another chasana, and that's all. How it came about, I have no idea. I didn't hold cheshbon, like, you got this much, this, that. But that's what this thing. Okay? So, with Benshim, how does the Benshim give me more money? Normal year. Let's say he wants to give me, this year, we should have more money to spend. We send the kids to camp. I said, whatever it is, whatever the mice is. Tipped out the soil. So he, what happens is, the Rebbeinu Shalom makes it that you don't have sick kids this year. So you don't have to pay for the doctors. The co-pays are also money. And you don't have to pay for medicines and stuff like that. And whatever it is you have to pay for kids. So Baruch Hashem, everybody's healthy this year. Or how many miles they get on a gallon? Like normally the car said 20, right? And if the car's lousy, you can get only 10. And I'm getting 30, right? I'm getting 30, so I fill up less times. So I get money that way. My tires don't wear out so fast, right? So I'm making again money. So the Benshel makes it that the Derech HaTefa is that it doesn't cost me as much as another guy. That's the main zach. So Mamela, you're making 50 is really 60 or 70, or something like that. On the other hand, the Benshel wants to make it tzoros, so he gives it the same 50, and you're making 30. Because all of a sudden you're getting only 10 miles to the gallon, your tires are wearing out every 2 minutes, whatever it is, and you have a lot of things there. So the Benshim, the whole weight of the world works this way. They guarantee the refrigerator for 5 years, right? You get an extended warranty for 8 years, right? And it's supposed to last 16 years. And the first it's 14 years or 12 years, right? And then they're supposed to last 16 years, and it lasted 22 years. So, this is a Meisim B'chol Yom, this thing. How come I got a better car than you got? You got a better car than me? An accident. They tell you don't buy Mondays and Friday cars. That not much I know. They tell you. Because Monday the guy comes off from being shikya, and Friday he's already planning on being shikya, so he starts already Friday. So made of the cars they don't make good cars. So if you can always go to a car, try when you get in this thing, I want a car made on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or something like that.
So Rosh Hashanah decides, I'm spending $30,000 this year. That's it. What I'm making is decided what?
I think that's not irrelevant. The Benishim will give you obviously enough for you to spend. But it's not negay. If I don't spend it, that's why you can save money. How do you have a savings account? Right? It says toch over that the Zaynais of Shalodim is Rosh Hashanah. So make a big party Erev Rosh Hashanah, right? Spend every penny you have, because it's not negay. There's a new Gzeiros coming up, and now we'll have that money, right? Obviously we don't follow on that. Why not? Well, we're kaifer, chas v'chalila. All of us, the Benshim gave us the ability to save money, because this year I only need 30,000. Next year I'm going to need 60,000. I put 10,000 in the bank, so next year I have to be 60,000. I have my normal 50 plus the 10 I put in the bank from this year. That's the thing. So that's why it's very nice of Shalodim Sudalim Rosh Hashanah. How much you have to spend. Because that wasn't the game for this year. If you didn't have any money, the only one that money in the bank helps is a kaifa, right? A guy doesn't believe that the Benshim does this, so he says, I'm menucha. I got $100,000 in the bank. Oh, it's menucha. If you had only $1,000 in the bank, you'd go, hey, what's for time? You shouldn't have evidence there. Those one, you don't need the money. Right? So what do you know? Was glaubst in it, right? Except the glaub nicht, was kann man tun? I don't believe in God, so what do you do?
The Rebbe before said,
Yeah.
So the Rebbe was saying that it would be better not to ask the Shiloh.
Yeah, that's how it is. He says, what would be if you don't ask? You don't get it. Right, he says, who says to brach is a mile? You have to build you have to work 3 times as hard, you have to build the storage houses, you have to build this.
So
it's a shana, right? Right, they do it the same thing. And my marshal is a simple one, really. I can't say by everyone it works, in Yeshivas it doesn't work. So, but in the house, you have a jar of instant coffee. How many years have you had that jar? Right? I have this coffee, but instant coffee steht dort like years and years, and it always looks like the same amount. You know, it's like a third of the bottle is there, and you think that I took out 2 spoons. It should have been gone already after 10 years. It doesn't go away. The same coffee. Yeah. Okay. Go over to Behar-Bechukosai. Okay. In Behar-Bechukosai Seilechu, it's mitzvah say tishmu v'asisam oisam. So Rashi says the kasha.
So Messiah is supposed to daven for as little as possible. Comes Rosh Hashanah, really, you're trying to daven have as little Messiah as possible. As little like sauce. It's almost.
Why? But Benishim will give me enough money to spend whatever he was going to tell me I'm going to be able to spend.
So you are davening to have.
To spend. How I get it, I don't care how I get it. I won the lottery. Who cares how I get it? But the Benishim is going to give me how much money I need to spend on my family this year. Not how much I'm going to make. How much I'm going to make is what kind of gzeira is that? I don't know how much it's going to cost me yet. So what kind of gzeira is making money? It's how much you spend. That's the yikah. That's why it says Messiah Neisov. In Behar-Bechukosai Teilechu, so Rashi says, Yochel, you'll think Behar-Bechukosai Teilechu means Shmiras HaMitzvahs. It says, it's Mitzvah Say Tishberu. So it says already Shmiras HaMitzvahs. So therefore, what does it mean by that? Amelus B'Torah. Well, that's Rashi. I don't know. I go back to Rashi in Eschanan, and he tells me what's the word Tishbu mean. Tishbu means Limud HaTorah. Right? He has it both in Eschanan and in Parshas Rei. He has it both times like that. That it means that I'll read you the Rashi in Eschanan. Right after Sheni Rei Madati, Mishpatim Ushmartem Vasisem, Pasuk Vav. Shmartem zu Mishneh. Vasisem is Chumash Shiur. So it means learning. So why are you mixing learning? It says to beferish Vasisem oisam. Right, the next 2 words are Vasisem oisam. So why don't you just say like Sisem oisam state? Right. So I think Rashi wants to teach me a big yesod here, that the Ikar Asiyas HaMitzvah is learning, because she goes through the ganze lomdas and the sach and how you're supposed to do it and where you do it and how you do it and all the thing there, and that's the Asiyas HaMitzvah. So why we do a mitzvah itself? That's the test. You learned about it. Let's see what you do. Okay. And the same thing would be in a way you used to learn if a guy learned brachas. And if after he learned brachas, he makes the bracha the same way he made it before he learned brachas. Isn't it gelernt? Didn't go into him. He doesn't know what he learned. That has to have an effect on you. It doesn't have an effect on you. Okay. So then it says, what will be if you do this? And have Amelis Batera. So I'm going to take care of the Amelis a minute first. In Loisi Shmuli, the Loisas is going to say, in the Loisai Masu. So Trashi over there, Zayin, Keneged Zayin, what do you call it? So he counts, Loilomad, Loyosa, Loilomad, Loyosa, Loyos, Oisim. He goes 7 Madregas. So she asked, what happened to Loyomal? He's a step before Loilomad. Right? So he says, set me from down in, without a Melis, hastened gelernt. That's the big lesson we learn. You know, from the Horvet not learn, there's not gelernt. It's not that you just not gehorvet. It's not gelernt. Okay, anyway, and again we have bracha. V'yitzikochem daishes botzir, botzir yasi gezora. So Rashi says you're going to have so much a dayish that it's going to reach botzir. And you have so much botzir that it's going to reach zora. So we said before that they're having so much bracha is nit kemaila. Right? What's the yichus of having so much bracha? So I tell you, what's pshat in this bracha? Normally, why do you have to work hard? A farmer, in the summer, he works all day, mamish, as long as it's light, he's working, right? In the winter, he doesn't work. But what does he do in the summer, right? Because he can't afford to leave the trua on the field because it's going to rain. If it rains, it's going to get wet and it's going to spoil. So your job is you got to get it in as fast as possible, whatever it is. So you're always working hard. But I'm going to give you a bracha that it's going to last until then. In other words, whatever it is, you don't take it in, it's still going to last. And that's the thing. So now I can set up my day. In other words, a farmer, if you set up his day between the summer and the winter, you only have to work 3-4 hours a day. The rest of the time, getting sits in the mountain. So what does he have to work a whole day for? So that's the bracha of Hisikohem Daishis Botzir. In other words, you have the true will last the whole year, so now you can put away only a couple hours a day to work, and the rest of the day to learn. You don't have to do the busy season, he says. No busy season. Okay. Helden selber Zebra. Wetterwarte. The only thing I had the kasha, I don't really have a teretz for it. Unless we can learn something more in Hazinu. That's the difference. But for Hamisha Meir, or Meir became Revavi Yadaifu. Right? That seems to be the bracha. Right? And we know the case, the bracha, L'toif, is bigger than the Klal L'ra. Right? Let's see what it says, L'ra. And he's saying that this is what it doesn't, so you got to somehow, what the Rabbanishim does to us because of what we do in Hazinu, that it's different. I don't know, yeah. Eich Yirov Echot Elef, Ushnayim Yonisu Revava. 1 1,000, 10,000. And here he's at 500 and 110,000. So that's, but the bracha, the toif is much less than the klala. So what's pshat? That's what I'm saying. So it must be something to work over there, and the type of klala that the Benishim was giving us in Hazinu for what we did over there. Then he says, "Ve'achartem yoshin yoshin." We're going to eat yoshin yoshin. Yoshim Mipnei Chodesh Tetziu. And we're going to take out, what are we playing here, musical chairs. I just got a whole new through it. I have my warehouses are full of Yoshin, right? So he says you'll take it out so you can put the Chodesh in there, right? Well, what am I going to do with the Yoshin? Got the new houses, so why shouldn't I just put the Yoshin in the new houses? I mean the Chodesh in the new houses. No, so that's not pshat. So it means is The Gemara in Brachas, what does he ask over there? The Chachamim came to whatever the guys from the government, South Florida, Kohen Gadol, all of them came. Sanhedrin, they come to David HaMelech, Hamcha Tzricha Panasa. So he says he should do business. Ein haba esmala mechuyoi. So therefore they doesn't help. So tell something, so what do we do? So we go to the Gedud. And that's the way it ends off. Okay. So mashma, regular, like I say, in America, has the American dream. What's the American dream? You own a house, right? You also have a cleaning lady, right? And I guess whatever else, yeah. But the cleaning lady also has this, has the American dream. So how could she have a cleaning lady in a house? Elevor, she'll have to charge $100 an hour, right? So then she can have it, right? So then you have to charge in order for you to have a little more than what she has, because otherwise they have to charge $200 an hour. So there's no such thing. We all can't be equal. So how can you be equal? Only if you bring them a chutzlaretz. Right, so the Romans used to invade and whatever it is. Then they shared the profits or the booty among all the citizens of Rome. Right, so that's how they made it. We have an export product. We can live. The Arabs, I don't know why they're so rich. Right, they live in a desert. Desert doesn't grow nothing. So why are they so rich? Because they got oil. Right, so they put them to export the oil, and they charge a lot of money for it, and they make all the money. So what's the kashi, right? So that's what the Benshon gives us also. Yoshan is better than Chodesh, right? And Yoshan is even better than Yoshan. That's all. Like I don't think there's a fourth year mile, but the third years are better than the second is better than the first. So we export Yoshan, so therefore we have a product that everybody wants, and for that we charge, right? And the Benshon makes a nest that, and that's what we took out the Yoshan for. We take it out to export it, and then we put in the Chodesh there, which is going to become. We have enough food that we have Yoshan, and then we're going to have this Chodesh is going to become. Some will leave for Yoshan. Whatever gets it, some will export it, or most of it will export it, and therefore we get the money, and that way we can live. Okay. So that's the bracha to Klal Yisrael. Okay. This is again Sai here, and Sai in you worry about Eretz Yisrael, and sometimes why the Israelis can't understand certain things. No, they couldn't understand Hitler. How do you shriggin? Why don't you just charge the guy and kill him? Right? Because it says in both teichachas, v'anishorim b'chem v'veisem boirech b'uvavam bi'atzais asv'yiveichem. Only in Goldus is only where the fear of Goyim is. In Eretz Yisrael, there's no fear of Goyim. I can tell you that from the few times I went there. Not only have no fear of Goyim, you have no fear at all. I think the Maisa is, which is Piliployim. I went with my wife, with my 4 kids, and this is in 1974. My youngest kid was 6 years old. Okay, we were in Eretz Yisrael, we were there for Chasana, and they went to Petach Tikva from Yerushalayim. Okay, they had 2 buses. So we were in a bus, and you could go on any bus. And my wife was a nice warrior. Where's I'm not going to say whose name it was. Where's he? And stuff like that. That there would be something there. And we're getting on the bus to come back, and the little one's not there. Right? Not one of us got scared. He's probably on the first bus. Okay, what's going to be there doing by the first bus? So you get there, it'll be another half hour or whatever it is there, right? We kept there. He's sitting on the curb. The Arab street cleaner is about 20 feet away from him, and he's sitting on the curb waiting for us, and said, come on, and that's it. And then we're shaking at it. You know what could have happened? Right? Not a worry. No worry about it. You're in God's hands. There's no fear from Goyim in Eretz Yisrael at all. That's why they're able to live there. And otherwise, the thing that we're here, we're afraid to go. Oh, it's a war zone. This, that, that. The people in Eretz Yisrael are having a good time. Don't worry about it. I was there not last year. It was pretty good.
But the Churban.
What?
The Churban happened in Eretz Yisrael.
Right.
And they weren't scared. B'shas Churban.
That didn't say they were scared. You see, they all died. They went out to war. You see, the Yonathan didn't even want to give in. We can make them go. Right? The Chacham said, let's wait them out. Nah, we're going to work. We'll knock them off there. And they're the Churban because of that. But didn't say they were afraid. And the Pirchei Kahula jumped into the fire and killed 60,000, whatever.
Doesn't Chizkiel give the doors the treasures in Beis Mikdash because he was scared?
No, it was coming to Gullus. And Gullus, if they may ruin it, and they may find it. I don't want it to fall in their hands, I hide it.
Well, didn't he give them a bribe that they shouldn't come?
But that has nothing to do with fear.
He gave a bribe that Samcheva shouldn't come. Didn't he give a bribe that they shouldn't come?
Who?
Didn't one of his things was that he gave
My son
Gicha, let's say, because he was scared when they would come invade. Like, there's certain things they did. They gave I think the doors of the Beis Mikdash.
Yeah, but who says there was fear?
What's a bribe for? Is that because of
That's not fear. The Baruch Hashem, you don't know what fear is. Okay? One guy can walk in with 20 bachim playing basketball and take the basketball and walk off the court and nobody would touch him. How does the guy have the chutzpah to do it? When they can jump him, they can kill him? He's not afraid. And why didn't you attack him? Because you are afraid. And that's the difference. That's what afraid means. Doesn't mean that I don't have to make cheshbenis. He's coming to attack me. I got to protect myself here. Of course, there's a lot of things that you have to make cheshbenis, but that's not a fear. Okay, we'll go to the last piece a second. And Baruch Hashem, the Ben Shem says he doesn't get rid of us. But okay. The last piece. It says, Maisa Baker Ritzoin, Sheyava Tachza Shavet, Hasiri Kodesh. So it means, so there's two things you're not allowed to do. You can't make sure which one goes out first, right? And if you did, and you can't exchange it, right? So Shiva asks, if you're not allowed to make sure which one comes out first, so for sure this is Yimirenu. Right? So what's the point of it? So first of all, we have the union of Yimirenu before. And this we have, by the Goyim Havdil, this exists all the time. But we have it, unfortunately, even by Fuma. I think by the church, a true Catholic gives his fourth son to the church. In other words, you're a Galach. And the thing over there. By us, the guy says, you're the doctor, you're the lawyer, you're the accountant, well, you'll be the Talmud Chacham. Right? You can't decide who's going to be the Talmud Chacham. That you can't do. And I've seen it l'maaseh from a lot of people that try to do it. Oh, that one won't be, this one will be. And it turns out the Punkt verkehrt, that one is and this one is not. And stuff like that. So that's one thing, you know. But the second thing, why is it not a kal v'chemer? See, he said as a guy from here, you can't retire. If you're in this business, you can't retire. In other words, even if you finally I want to change it. You got old, Levakel. You can't. But if you do it, both of you kodesh. The guy that's kodesh, the first one, he got to stay there for sure. The second one you want to help him with, he also maybe has to stay there. But the first one is stuck. There's not such thing. He doesn't have a way of going home.
Or it's what's the question? Mean
Yeah, you know that you can't. It's Parshas you can't be Yumarenu. If I can't even make sure which one goes out first, how can I change it? When it went out first, that doesn't even have kedusha yet. I can't make sure which one is kodesh.
So it should be part of the original.
Huh?
It should be part of it. You can't create an isser from a kavalchayim, right? You can't create an einish. You can't create an isser out of thin air.
Isser I can learn. The einish I can't learn. Isser I can learn. So the issue is that, of course, if I can't make sure which one goes with no kedusha, you have to make sure that I'm taking away the kedusha from something. Of course, I can't do it. So what's the necessity of it? So he says that anyone with kedusha has to remain. So what does it mean? It means that we give him a job where we do it, where even though he's I can't handle the class anymore. Okay, so we'll give you the shmooze in it once in a week, once of that. We'll give you these things, but there's things to do. It's not pshat that you potter. You're not potter. That's what he learned.
If you see one of the kids have different koyches and nefesh, you can't make a cheshbon which one should be accounted, which should be talmid chacham?
Let's put it this way. Reish Lakish, right? Who's the second biggest Talmud Chacham in his door? I'm not sure anyway. We're not bubbles. I'm not getting well with that. But Reish Lakish. Not these. Why? Because of the keach of the head, the physical keach. So I'll tell you the story of a kid. It's a call of anything. There's a chassan now, but when he was 5 years old, he was climbing the walls. I mean, climbing the walls is that everything he did, he was in some trouble, because he couldn't sit down. He finished Shas, his bar mitzvah. Not Mishnayis. Shas, his bar mitzvah. Okay? So, what do you mean? What did he do? He used the keches that he's climbing the walls with. They put it into Torah, now you can finish Shas to the bar mitzvah. You find a lot of the older kids grow up and they all of a sudden, they're big Talmidei Chachamim. Why? Because they took the keches that normally put into the shtus, and the ball, or whatever it is in the thing, they put into Torah, so all of a sudden you're going to have a big Torah there. So I'm saying, that's what we got to do. You got to redirect. So the sign is, why should this guy seems to have a keach in business? Maybe he should be the guy supporting the family in business, right? Maybe he should be the guy giving eitzes to Gans Kar Yisrael how to do business. How many shadows I get for business? What are you asking me for? I'm not in business. You're the one in business. What are you asking me for? All of us, you come with me without fragen. Who are you asking? Go to the banker, go to this thing. They know nothing. You're right. They know nothing. That the teichach should be over, and the gula should come. It should come quick.
Amen.
And a good Shabbos, everyone.
Have a good Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Shabbos.